Alright folks, welcome back to another video. Glad to see you back. We're going to continue the series on War Thunder tactics that I think you should be using because you're not, or on average most people aren't. This one is going to touch base on air. Again, I want to do it for like air and ground, although I'm not the best at air, so I'm assuming that the air one probably will be shorter than the ground one. Although I'm still going to do 5, and we're not even going to talk about naval because naval's just naval. So this one's going to touch base on 5 War Thunder air mechanics that you're not using but should be. So I hope you guys are ready. Thank you guys for the last video. We're gonna touch base on at the end of the video. You guys popped out and showed a lot of love, so thank you. Let's go ahead and get into this video about, again, 5 War Thunder air mechanics that you should be using but you aren't. Let's get it. So the first thing that I want to talk about in regards to a mechanic that I don't see a lot of you guys using is going to be setting up Freelook controls. And what I mean by that is that you need to make it to where you can turn your plane 360 degrees and look around you everywhere. Above your plane, below your plane, behind it, to the left, to the right, every single direction. Think about it as a sphere around your plane that you need to always be monitoring at all times. It helps with situational awareness, avoiding tunnel vision, and tracking enemies. This is 100% one of the most crucial things in air, not only when dogfighting, but scanning the horizon to find other enemies or spotting potential threats that are diving on you or slotting in behind you that you weren't even aware of. You need to have it binded to a comfortable button so that way you can quickly check your surroundings without losing your control of the plane, because if you're in the middle of a dogfight and you're trying to sit between actually moving your plane and then setting up your Freelook so that way you can do that at the same time, you're gonna have a really hard time actually flying your plane. Another good thing for this is it makes it to where you can fly your plane in a straight line and Freelook around and your plane doesn't change course unless you obviously have keybinds up to set it while you can do that at the same time. The best use of this, or an example of how you would use it, is say you're flying in or you're in a dogfight and you pass somebody in a head-on. You can take your plane while it's still flying straight and turn your camera around and see the maneuvers that the enemy is doing. If they're trying to turn around to slide in behind you or shoot a missile at you, if they're pulling up and over, if they're keeping their speed up and flying away. It definitely is good because if you fly past someone and you don't look behind you to see what maneuvers they're doing, you could turn your plane right around and go directly into their nose or directly into their plane and wreck. So you really need to be careful when doing that, especially if you don't know what maneuvers they're doing or if your teammate's gonna take care of them. So you may turn to kill somebody and your teammate's already pulled up to shoot them and now you just lost all the energy that you had built up. At the end of the day, Freelook had to be the first thing I put in this video because the amount of times people ask me in stream, hey, how do you do that? If I had $1 for every time someone asked that, I'd at least have like 20 bucks probably. That could buy me like a good bit of McChickens. So that's a lot of times. Now, the second tip that we're gonna put in this video is going to be setting up keybinds to move your plane independently while you're in Freelook. This may seem the same as the first one, but it's different because you can use both of them independently of each other or independent of each other and you don't have to use them at the same time. So you can use keybinds to move your plane while you're not Freelooking, but you can also use them when Freelooking, and they literally are two pieces. They're both sides of the same coin. When setting up your keybinds, the same as the Freelook, you make it a comfortable button. For my Freelook, I have my Freelook set up to C. I'm not sure if that's default, but that's just what it was for me, if I'm not mistaken. So I use C for my Freelook, and then you can set up your pitch and yaw and things like that to other buttons. Mine keybinds are set to like Q and E, so that way again if I turn my camera around and look at a plane behind me, I can hit Q, which is my button to make my plane pitch up, and I can, while looking behind me, turn my plane up, or if I'm turning to the right, turn my plane to the right while I'm looking behind me watching a plane. Because the amount of dogfights that you will lose if you cannot move your plane while watching an enemy plane behind you or to the top of you or to the bottom of you is insane. Being able to see what your enemy does makes it 10 times easier to do what you're doing. So again, if you're in a head-on and you fly past somebody, look behind you, and you have keybinds set up to make your plane pitch up, pitch down, go left, go right, you can quite literally watch somebody behind you while controlling your plane and still stay in the dogfight. You will lose so many dogfights if you can't do both. It may seem rough at the start, but I'm telling you, if you slowly just kind of force yourself into it, it'll make it so much easier in the long run, and soon it'll be second nature. You do need to probably try it out because it's different for everyone. everyone. My keybinds, not a lot of people like, so that's why I told you what I have on there, but it's just because I have mine as Q and E just because it's near W, A, S, and D. But you might want to play around with whatever you want. I think some people even have like a second keyboard, or they have the mouse that has like 7 buttons on the side, so they can just keybind it to that. But you need to just fiddle around with whatever keybinds will work best for you. So again, you can use Freelook while you're looking at a plane that's in any direction around the sphere that surrounds your plane. That way you can better dogfight, have more knowledge, and not stay so locked into just thinking that you have to fight every engagement out being able to move your plane again while looking in another direction. Now, the third tip that I'm going to talk about is going to be making preset loadouts and naming them. This may seem really minute, but it'll save you time in the long run, I promise you, and it'll save you games where, again, you could have completed a challenge or something like that, but you chose the wrong loadout, or you have to now sit there and be like, gosh, now I got to turn back around, I chose the wrong loadout, or dang, I got to respawn real quick because I brought the wrong thing. And it really sucks if you get an air spawn and you brought the wrong loadout, because then you really got to go through a lot. But making preset loadouts, whether it's for bombing, for air-to-air, for funny, silly thingies, it really is up to you, but it'll save you time to have multiple different things. So that way, if you're playing air, you have your loadout for air combat. If you're going for ground pounding, you have that. If you have bases, you have that. It makes it to where you can quickly switch between each thing without any thought to it. Me personally, I have multiple loadouts. Again, I'll have a loadout if I'm going for air-to-air combat, if I'm going for ground pounding combat, if I'm going after convoys, if I'm going after bases, if I'm going after AI, like AI units. If you get like a sim map, you can get the AI ground units, going after those. I have pretty much for every plane, I have a lineup for each thing, or a preset for each thing that I name. And make sure that when you make the loadout, you mark every single one of them as your favorite, because if you don't, it'll display them at the bottom. So every time you try to change your preset, you have to scroll down. If you favorite it, it shows it at the top, so it makes it a lot easier, because you're not going to need to see what the default loadouts are, because you're not going to use them pretty much half the time. So make sure that you always mark it as favorite, and it'll display it at the top. I would suggest, again, naming them to whatever it's for. Air-to-air, bases. Some of them are called bases, and some of them are called more bases, if it has more, you know what I mean, to try to emphasize what it's for, because some of them are only equipped to blow up one base. Some of them are equipped to blow up multiple bases. Some of them are equipped for ground pounding, if it's like, you know, I want to take my plane into a ground match. So do that, and I promise you, it'll make it so much easier for you to switch between loadouts, because they have names and they're already ready for you. So it makes it 10 times easier, and it'll save you a lot of time in the long run. Now, the fourth great mechanic that you are not using is the fuel dumping mechanic. If you have the one plane in the game that has the fuel dumping mechanic, you can use it. Does it do anything really? No. Does it look cool? Yeah. Will it win you games? No. Will it boost your team's morale to maybe help you win the game? Yeah. That's not really a mechanic, but it is pretty cool. I don't know if y'all know about it, but they just added it in the past update. The only plane that has it, as far as I'm aware, is the F-111. It's definitely really cool to use it, but it's not really a mechanic. I was just joking with y'all. I just wanted to put it in the video because I thought it was cool. You turned to like a candlestick, so you pretty much turned to like a blowtorch. Doesn't do any damage to anybody, but it looks cool and people love seeing it, so it's really cool. It has like there's no reason that you would actually use that in the game, so yeah, it's just funny. I want to throw in, you guys need to also make sure to select air spawn if it is available, because GAJIN implemented a new mechanic to where if there's like bad weather, it'll automatically choose you to spawn on the ground even if there is an air spawn available. And sometimes if there's an air spawn, you can still choose ground, so just make sure that if there is an air spawn, you choose that one no matter what the weather, because usually you're fine at the air spawn. You don't run into a mountain directly unless you choose air spawn. Sometimes it'll make you spawn on the airfield unless again you select otherwise. The fourth actual tip that we'll be talking about is that if you have 0 damage to your plane, you can J out once you stop on the airfield. So what I mean is, if you are landing your plane and you have no damage, now this can be a little buggy sometimes, because if you get hit by like a flare, or sometimes somebody literally kiss the back of your plane like with a freaking, I don't even know, like they ricochet and didn't even actually do anything to your plane. Sometimes it will, you know, give somebody else a kill, or it'll bug out and it'll just kick you from the game. But on average, as long as you have no damage to your plane at all, you can land. You have to have gear. It used to be you could do it without gear, but now you have to have gear out or it will not work. So you slow down on the airfield, which I'll have it up on screen so you can see an example. You slow down on the airfield. Once you see 0 speed and you're not moving at all, like, I mean, you can't even be moving at 1 kilometer. I've heard some people say it can be under 30. I would say just go to 0 just to be safe. Once your plane completely stops and you see it start saying repairing and rearming, you can literally J out or just click leave vehicle and then respawn. So you don't have to sit there for like 30 seconds, which can be make or break if you're running back from, you know, an engagement and someone's chasing you and you have to hurry up and get back in the air, or your teammate needs you or something like that. Those 30 seconds are very crucial. You need to make sure you're paying attention to your speed, because if you do it too soon, it doesn't work. If you, again, got hit by a flare, it won't even show up on your damage mod if you get hit by the flare, but somebody will get the kill for that. So you really need to be careful about that. It'll make it to where you can get back in the air faster for going after bases as well, because I'm sure we've all had that air game where you're right there at the base, and if you just had 5 more seconds, you could have bombed it. So those things are very crucial in regards to the 30 seconds you save, or 45 seconds, depending on how long it is for you to repair and rearm in the game. So it's very nice to do that. And it does not count as a death either. So if you do that, it doesn't count as you dying or anything, unless you, like, I guess, leave the game, but I don't even know if it counts as a death then. Now, the last tip that I'm going to mention is that you need to use the spotting system to your advantage, even though sometimes it doesn't work. We all know that there's times where it marks somebody 50 clicks out, and then the person that's 2 clicks out doesn't get marked, all right? But a lot of people don't pay attention to that. They just fly in a straight line, and they're like, oh, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about anything that's not directly in front of me, you know? And they just kind of have tunnel vision on straight in front of them. This kind of works in tangent with, I don't know if that's the right word, but with the first tip, which is using Freelook, because if you're side climbing, or, you know, if you're playing top tier and you're flying low and you want to watch what's going on to the right, your spotting system will mark people usually like from 40, 50 clicks out, 30 to 50 clicks out, and then you can figure out, okay, there's that plane, there's that plane, there's that plane, this one's up high, this one's down low, and then you can figure out how you want to approach. Because the amount of times I see people that don't even look, you know, at planes, or they don't even see planes far away, and they just kind of charge in there blind, it really makes it hard for you to win games or have any synergy with your team if you're not paying attention to what's spotted on your screen. Because even though it's displayed there, people don't pay attention to it. Enter the chat Panda when it says return to battlefield and it's flashing red on my screen, and I still drive out. Oh, another track is crazy. There we go, Commander Radio. We can see me now, though.
Before he gets me, though.
I jaded at. Oh, I was not in the battle, bro.
Again, the spotting system is very good, because it'll tell you where the enemies are at, it'll tell you their distance, it won't tell you their speed or anything like that. It'll tell you the plane, and it'll tell you their distance. That also helps you if you're with other teammates. You can say, hey, there's a plane at this altitude, at this, or not really altitude. I mean, you can kind of guess the altitude based on your own and how far they are from you, but you can tell your teammates, hey, this guy's pulling up behind you and he's this far out. Hey, there's this guy off to the left, whatever. So if your teammate's in a dogfight and they don't know that plane's rapidly approaching their location, you can tell them, hey, there's a guy right here, pay attention. Oh, missile on you. Now that's not really if it's a spotting system, but again, if you can tell them there's a plane coming in on them, they can more accurately pay attention to, you know, flares or bullets or things like that. So you got to make sure to pay attention to that, because you can save your teammates a lot, especially at higher BRs. When there's someone 10 clicks out, they will close that gap very quickly. So if you're not paying attention to the spotting system for yourself or your teammates, you will have a lot of stressful time, which you are already having stressful time because they're playing War Thunder. You can kind of have less stress if you, again, pay attention to the spotting system.
All right, so we have come to the end of the tips or the mechanics or what have you. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did for ground, where I put them up on screen. That way we can kind of summarize what we went over, which is 1, setting up your Freelook controls, 2, setting up your keybinds to move your plane while you're in a Freelook mode, 3, making preset loadouts and naming each and every one of them, 4, if your plane has 0 damage, you can J out when you fully and completely stopped on the airfield, and 5, using the spotting system, even though sometimes, most of the times, it doesn't work at all. These are all the things we went over in this video. As normal, it's going to be timestamped, so if you want to go back and watch, you know, something else or the same thing and like go over it again, feel free to do that. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips. Let's go ahead and get into the outro. Mechanics, bro. I keep saying tips, bro. All right, dude. All right, folks. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I did good, because I know a lot more about ground. Not like in the sense of I'm a genius, but I main ground, so I feel like it's a lot easier for me to go more in depth about ground things than it is about air. This air series is definitely gonna be shorter. If you guys want to do the same thing where you drop a comment like for mechanics that you think should be used in air, feel feel free to do that, and I'll credit you guys in the next video, because the next video that I put out is going to be for the ground, the second part to that. And I know a few of you guys did drop comments, so I'm going to be crediting you guys in the next video when I upload that, because I saw a few people comment some really good mechanics that I want to talk about. So look out for that in the next one. And again, if you want to be in the next air one, feel free to drop a comment. I'd be more than happy to put you guys in a video, because I love seeing the community pull together so that we can all enjoy something in regards to helping each other out and things like that. So without further ado, I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on the way to 700. Oh my gosh, we are to pass 700. Thank you guys for 700. But we are on the way to 1,000 subscribers. I think at 1,000 subscribers, I have an idea of what I want to do. Maybe like a gym video with a Q&A. So while you guys can drop some questions, I can, you know, make a gym content video and answer some of y'all's questions if y'all have any. So that's what I'm looking at, but not sure. But I'm gonna get out of y'all's hair. Love y'all. Sorry for the yapping. Have a blessed one. See you on the next one. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Peace. Thank y'all, by the way, for all the love in the last video. That last video blew up. Best video we've ever had. Y'all are crazy. Love y'all. Give yourself a kiss on the face.